Hello and welcome to a new video. I'm Fuchstanz, and I'm glad you're here. Before we get into it, I wanted to share some impressions of my latest walks I took and the sky. So I hope you appreciate that little vlog part. For today's video, I'm reviewing these markers by Arrtx. They're the Oros 12 in collaboration with Ree. I think her handle is Ree Artworks everywhere, but I'll definitely link her down below. The box it came in is super gorgeous, as you can see. And I really like the colors she chose. In the interview she did with Arrtx, she said about these colors that they were supposed to be bright, and they are bright, like she said. The box comes with obviously the markers, this thank you card. So thank you Arrtx as well. These stickers, which I really adore because Ree's artworks are always great, and I have stickers to put everywhere, and a postcard with the image of the box, and I really like the cute details of it. And it comes with a marker swatch sheet with some tips on it, and it's really cute as well. Like, Arrtx really did really well with the packaging. So first I'm going to swatch these pens. They come with a brush tip and a chisel tip. I tried swatching them before this review, and I'm super happy with the brush tip of these markers. They're really soft but also firm, and I've tried a few other marker brands and I can tell that these are pretty good quality. You can see me swatching all the colors right now, and I think the colors are really unique. Like, the set isn't what you expect, I suppose. Because the colors at first glance didn't go together in my head, but the more I tried them out, the more I really liked them, and they work really well together. I mean, Ree obviously had something in mind when she chose these colors, besides them being bright and reminding her of cartoon colors. So I'm glad she chose these colors, and I wouldn't have picked these for myself, so it's nice to get a different artist to pick out art supplies for you. My favorite colors out of this set are probably the pale green light 167, the medium pink 137, and the tender pink in 198. I think these colors are really stunning, and I can't wait to use them again. Also, the yellow is quite unique in my opinion. It's green bias, so obviously it's a green based yellow, and I really enjoy it. It's unusual, I wouldn't gravitate towards it, so using it was actually quite fun. I started this illustration with doing a digital sketch. I took inspiration from the artwork that's on the box and on the postcard that redesigned. I think it is kind of cool to do a draw this in your style thing for this. So I did a digital sketch, and you can see me tracing it on my iPad onto a marker paper. I use guided access so it doesn't move when I try to trace the image onto the paper. I rarely use it anymore because I prefer to print out the sketch I'm working on and then trace it. But when I'm lazy, I tend to just use guided access on my iPad and trace it that way. So, yeah. Also for the sketch, I've used a Col-erase by Prismacolor. It's in the color purple. And I always love using colored pencils as a base for marker drawings just because they blend super well, and I think they just mesh nicely. And I love to do mixed media with my art, so I think it's just a match made in heaven when I'm using colored pencils under alcohol markers. I tried to pick similar colors for my own color palette to what the image on the box looked like. It was quite interesting to work with these colors because to my eye there's not really a typical skin color or even a neutral brown or beige, I don't know. So it was really fun to use these colors for the image. I never would have thought to use a light orange as a skin color, but I think it turned out really sweet with the other colors that I was using. So I really like the challenge of this illustration. As for the markers, like I said earlier, I've tried a lot of different brands. Namely, I've used Copics over the years just because they are refillable, and I like the color spectrum of them and that you can get them in single markers, not just whole sets. So I've accumulated quite a few of the Copic markers over the years. But I gotta say that the Arrtx Oros, I don't know how to say it, Oros, whatever it's called, they are quite nice. The colors are very vibrant, and I think they're even more vibrant than when you swatch Copic markers. They tend to be a little bit dull in comparison, and I haven't noticed it before, but when I was talking to Ree, she also mentioned that she found quite a difference in how saturated or vibrant these colors are, and I have to agree, they really are a standout when it comes to the vibrancy of the hues. So I'm really glad I got to experience these colors and see that they are really nice to work with. Also, I have to say that these go down really smooth. Like, I haven't noticed any streaking or any weird texture with them, and I quite enjoy that. Also, you can get some sort of variation when you layer the markers. I think I have to try them a little more to figure that out fully, but from what I can tell so far, even with just one single marker, you can get quite a range of variation in the hue or tone. Not sure, but I hope you know what I mean. The alcohol markers that I've used before also always had a smell to them, so using these wasn't a surprise that these smelled. It's not a pleasant smell, but I don't think it's anything super noticeable. I prefer the Copics that way, but like I said, it's really not that big of a deal. You can just leave a window open and use these markers if it's too bothersome. But yeah, I'm usually very sensitive to smells, so I could work with them just fine. I don't think I would want to work with them for hours, but for a simple illustration, I think it's totally fine and worth getting. When it came to the shadows of this piece, I was a bit confused what to use, since the lavender or even the dark blue light would have been way too oversaturated. I tried to use them on the pants, but on the shirt I definitely knew I wouldn't be using them, so I tried it with the medium pink, and I think it turned out alright. I usually don't use pink for shadows, but with the green it made a really neutral shadow tone, so I think it worked in that case. I'm glad it did, because I wouldn't have another option to use, despite maybe the phthalo blue, but yeah, I'm glad the pink worked out in the end. On the skin I was shading with the tender pink for a bit, so I guess that worked as well there. And you get a good variation of colors, I must say, even for the shadow tones, so that's quite nice for this set. When I was done with the overall coloring and shading with the markers, I decided to add some details with my gold pen and add a little bit more sparkle and pizzazz to the image itself, which I think looked really nice, and I'm glad I did it. I also went into my colored pencils just to add more detail and shading with it, just because I was a little bit unsatisfied with the contrast these markers gave me. I think it looks fine just as the markers alone, but I just wanted to add a little bit more texture and detail with the colored pencils, and I think it just added to the whole image. And like I said, I really enjoy mixed media, so I don't think you should hold back either when it comes to these. You don't have to just use markers for one piece. You can mix and match your art supplies with it. I also use two of my fountain pens. One is filled with brown ink, and I was using it mostly on the face and the lighter parts of this illustration. And then I went back in with the other fountain pen, which has black ink, just to deepen some of the lines and adding an outline to the darker areas like the hair. Line work, I suppose? I don't know. And the last part was me adding some white with my Dr. P.H. Martin's pen white. I really like how the illustration comes alive when you use the white, whatever white you're using, especially in the eyes. I think it looks really nice and adds a lot of contrast and sparkle, if you will. So I like using ink for that, or even Posca markers are quite neat for it. So yeah, I really enjoy this step a lot. Also, it's kind of like adding the finishing touches to an illustration, and you know it's going to be over and you're just adding tiny little bits to make it complete. And so this step always feels gratifying when you know you've come to an end of an illustration. And here are the art supplies I used. I hope you liked this illustration and this marker review. I've never really done a review before, so I hope you like it. I hope you check out Ree's artwork, and if you want, you can leave a like and a comment. I would really appreciate it. Subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye!